doing whatever it takes.
What did Sean say to you about why the move was made?
Um, it's been a process. Just that he was going to go with number two. I was going to become number two.
There's been a lot of attention about the contract situation. Did they approach you or your agent in October regarding
The sports world is straight business. See, for those of you watching, for those of you that are not aware, or if you truly didn't understand what Russ was saying, I want you all to imagine this. Picture this. See, most Americans work 40 hours a week. Imagine you go to work for 40 hours, right? And when your check comes in, you only get paid for 20 hours. How would you feel about that? You would feel sick. You would be pissed, right? Well, that is what Russell Wilson is facing right now. So he signed a contract for millions of dollars. And halfway through the season, week 8, see, the NFL season is only 16, 18 weeks. They change it from year to year. Sometimes it's 18 weeks, sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 17 weeks. But on week 8, after defeating the Chiefs, one of the best football teams in this era right now, the Chiefs are basically the Golden State Warriors of football. When you think about it, they've won the national championships several times in this generation. And after defeating them, Russell Wilson was asked to change his contract. If he doesn't, he would get benched. You know what Russ said? Oh, well, I'm keeping my money. I would have done the exact same thing. This is an unfortunate situation for Russell Wilson. I feel bad for him. And I want to dissect this because I feel like Russell Wilson is misunderstood. See, Russell Wilson is a quarterback, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on social media talking about Russell Wilson. People say he's a square. I heard this from Channing Crowder, a former NFL player, a host on the Pivot podcast. Channing is a beast, but he said Russell Wilson is a square. And I'm like, oh, man. See, I can see why Channing Crowder said that, but there are people who don't know Russell Wilson, people who have never played football, people who watch football saying Russell Wilson is a square. But I'm like, okay, first off, y'all don't even know this guy, and he's misunderstood. See, he's a quarterback, meaning he has to be a leader. And a leader has to be able to walk into any room and talk to everyone. A leader has to conduct himself in a certain way. Now, Russell Wilson is the perfect example of that. Let's be for real. Russell Wilson knows how to walk into any room and talk to anyone. And people think he's a square because he knows how to do that, unfortunately. But anyways, that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is Russell Wilson is getting benched. One of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Super Bowl champion, getting benched. And he's finally expressing his true feelings. And I'm going to clap. I'm going to clap because most of the time, we hear Russell Wilson just expressing himself based off his quarterback persona. Oh, it wasn't their fault. It was my fault. It wasn't the tight end's fault. It wasn't the receiver's fault. It was my fault. It wasn't the old lineman's fault. It was my fault. I take the blame. We always hear Russell Wilson say that when he's getting interviewed after a game. But this time, he's expressing himself. He wasn't too emotional, but he expressed how he felt. He said, very unfortunate. Well, I'm not going to say everything he said verbatim, but he basically said this is an unfortunate situation, but he's going to do what he can to help the team win because that's what he did. He signed a 7-year contract to take the Broncos to the top, and that's what he's committed to doing. Now, another thing about this issue is that I'm glad it's not a one-sided story because sometimes the pros are painted in an image based off what the owners say. Like they tell the journalists to write this about a specific player or paint the story in a specific way, but not this time. Russ finally spoke, and I'm glad he did because now it's not a one-sided story. Now we hear from Russell Wilson. Just imagine if this interview never happened. What would we even get to this point where we're starting to see how things really work? Because some people think football is just fun and games, but no, this is a business. When it comes down to sports, I've never played professional sports, but I have played a sport before. And trust me when I say this, it's a business. Especially when it comes down to getting paid, people want their money. Coaches and players. especially the owners. They're the main ones that want that money. But anyways, whew, Russell Wilson is in some deep fire right now. After week 8, they come and say, we want our money back. But yeah, that's what's going on. And I'm a Russell Wilson fan. And if you are, write down a comment. Let me know. How do you feel about this situation? And do you guys think Russell Wilson will continuously play like a champion? Or will his career start to deteriorate? But for real though, how do you expect someone to play well after asking them to give them back the money he earned? It's like your job telling you, give me back my money. Are you going to want to go back to work the next day? No. Nobody wants to do work for half the money. I don't think that's right. But like I said, write it down in the comments. Let me know, how do you feel about this? And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up. And also subscribe so that way you don't have to search for my videos when you log on to YouTube. I'm Jonathan Panda. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.